2 aircraft carriers near Taiwan. They just deployed
Let's go.
70 fucking jets near Taiwan.
Let's go, Nate.
So I got some videos and some clips where we'll talk about that too.
All good, brother.
Those are going to be like the 2 things. Yep. Let's get these.
Oh shit!
Get these edited up.
Hey, I was about to sit here and do dumb shit again and not have my live. All right, come in here. Wait. Studio.
Again, everybody watching this on replay, if this replays, we'll see if it works this time. Just go ahead and skip forward.
I feel like I actually know what I'm doing now to actually turn it on. It's absolutely like, oh my God, I actually know what I'm doing. Public.
All right, I'm going to be live in about 10 seconds.
Monetize on.
Public. Here.
Good.
And here we go.
And I got this new trick, Nate. I leave it open so I can see the chat on my computer.
Yeah, I got that figured out finally too on the studio.
And I dropped the Riverside down, and it makes 2 little screens.
All right, let's see. God. I don't have any messages in the chat yet, so we'll see if we'll see as soon as I see that first message. I know we're up and we're going. Anybody here? Am I live? It says public. I got 0 views.
All right, I got some guys, man. I got guys. I got winners in the chat.
There we go. And here comes the comment section.
Let's go, folks.
I think I might have missed the delay. I might be on delay right now. How do I remove the delay? I can't remember.
Hey, Nate, I had a couple dudes on my comments saying you don't need to read out every super chat. So I don't know how you feel about it, but I almost feel like, man, I kind of feel like you got to read out every super chat.
Yeah, that's the whole point, man.
Yeah, bro.
And also the super chats.
Damn!
For one,
we got super chat.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? All right, hey, check it out. Me and Jake, we just logged on. We got 2 different topics we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about, if you haven't seen my video already this morning, just came out 2 hours ago. Iran's Congress, or whatever the parliament you would call it, voted in approval to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. They're waiting for the Ayatollah's final approval tonight. We're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about, as the title says, China is making some very awkward, weird moves in the South China Sea, moving multiple aircraft carriers into range of Taiwan. And Taiwan has seen like 70 plus fighter jets flying overhead in the last 24 hours. So we're going to talk about, with all the chaos in the world, are we about to see what, we're all hoping doesn't happen? China and Taiwan kicks off too. So we'll talk about that today. Jake, how you doing today? We're back after last night.
Nate, man, I just want to say thank you for including me on that craziness last night, man. We got off. It was powerful, man. I cut it up and put it back out and did 15,000 views overnight.
Yeah, so everybody, for whatever reason, me and Jake don't know, our lives when we do this usually save to YouTube, and this one just aired out. We don't think it's a YouTube thing. We think it's just a technical glitch of some sort. So if you wanted to watch it, it's up on Jake's channel. Make sure you check that out. So yeah, Jake, what do you want to start with? You want to start with the Strait being shut down? The Strait being shut down has a lot to do with potentially the China one. So maybe we start with that first.
Yeah, let's start with Iran, because I literally was up until about 1:30 last night after our live, kind of just doing some research, seeing what happened. But now there's some pictures of the actual 3 holes in the ground.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It kind of, if there's 3 holes in the ground, then we didn't use a nuke, right? But
yeah,
I was trying to watch the videos. I think it's AI, man. I think the nuke explosion is AI.
Yeah, I saw those too. It looked like, I've seen multiple of them, that giant mushroom cloud that's coming up from that area.
Yep.
From everything I've seen so far, people are claiming that was AI.
Yeah.
That was not the actual explosion, because me and Jake talked about this last night. If you were to actually think about it, they dropped 6 GBU-57s. And the reason they dropped 6 is the way this works is You drop the first one, it bores a hole as deep as it can, explodes. You drop the second one behind it, bores deeper, explodes. So it took 6 of them to get down to the depths to actually hit this facility. And let's say it's 300, 400, 500 feet underground. A regular non-nuclear munition is not going to cause a mushroom cloud from 400 feet underground in a tiny little hole, thousands of feet in the air. However, if it was this giant mushroom cloud, it might have been a tactical nuke. But from whatever we've seen, I know you guys might have seen it. It looks like it's just AI.
Yeah. I'm telling you, AI is making it hard now. It's making it hard.
They're saying Higgs said they used 14 GBU 57s.
Yeah.
Last I saw was 6. If they used 14, guys, that thing might have been like 1,000 feet underground if it took that many of them to get in there. I mean, that's wild.
Hey, the other thing we were talking about last night, Nate, the earthquakes that they were having were 5 p.m. local time, about 7 hours before we rained down hell and destruction. And they had an earthquake the day before. So there was 3 earthquakes within 3 days.
Yeah, like Jake said, there was a lot of people were, speculating that this 5.1 earthquake that happened right outside of Tehran was potentially a tactical nuke, obviously underground used. Well, I looked up that too, Jake, and it turns out that I guess that area, they get hundreds of earthquakes a year. That's just super, super common. It's not out of the ordinary. I was going to say that's a little too convenient, but supposedly from what I've researched is super normal thing going on over there.
Yeah.
So Jake, I want to, because judging off the comment section of this video I put out, I'm getting this comment just constantly of people telling me how dumb I am because Iran doesn't have the capability. Keep in mind, the capability. Now, we're not talking about repercussions of their actions. They don't have the capability to shut the Strait of Hormuz down, which to me is shocking because the way I see it is if Iran can send missiles and wipe out hospitals in Tel Aviv, you're telling me they can't hit an oil tanker moving 30 miles per hour right off their coast? You sink one of those big boys right there in the Strait, and that shit shuts down, man. It doesn't take a blockade. It takes you dumping a couple of these tankers under the water, and people stop shipping their shit.
I'm gonna give you an even easier way. The last time they did it, they just dropped 3,000 mines.
Yeah, I talked about that in my video too.
Yep, they just mined it, right? And you think about it, you can deal with 1 or 2 mines a day if you're a minesweeper. It's not like you got some attachment where you can just remove 1,000 mines. And shit, once it's mined, ain't nobody going through there.
No.
No commercial traffic is going through there.
Well, and that's the big point. Everybody keeps saying oh, you can't stop the aircraft carriers. We're not talking about aircraft carriers. We're talking about commercial oil tankers, guys, that it is very easy. It takes 1 or 2 missiles from Iran again, they don't need a navy to do it. It's right off their coast. They just send a couple of those missiles, knock a few of these oil tankers underwater, and that's it, guys. Now, if you're a company, if you lose an oil tanker, you're not going to keep sending it through the Strait. And for one, I don't know how deep the Strait is. You talk about sinking a couple of those bad boys. I'm not even sure you can put anything else through that.
That's a great question. I'm going to look that up because most of the Persian Gulf is 95 feet, 100, 200.
Yeah, feet. that's that oil tanker is just there at 95 feet. All right, real quick super chats while Jake looks that up. Wayneski, $2. Love keeping it real. I like you speak facts. I mean, I don't know about facts. We try to give the best, perspective that we have, right? Darkborg, $20. Appreciate it, brother. Very generous. Dmitry Medvedev, I can't say that, says many countries prepared to give Iran nuclear warheads. Think many countries want the U.S.'s smoke. Okay, I keep hearing that too, right? North Korea is going to send them nukes. China's going to send them nukes. Russia's going to send them nukes. Okay, well, then why haven't they? They've been allies for 20 years and they just haven't done it yet, but now they're going to. I don't know, guys. I don't think Russia and China want Iran to have nuclear weapons either. I mean, You know, because again, you're talking about the Strait of Hormuz, and we'll get into this as it relates to China. China gets a shit ton of their oil through there too. You know what I mean? China could be just as negatively affected as everybody else, or even more so. I mean, shutting down the Strait of Hormuz is way more negative for China than it is for the United States.
So the Strait of Hormuz, shipping lanes wise, is only 2 miles wide because it is so shallow. So
that's tiny for how big these ships are.
Tiny. Okay. I'm not finding the depth. I got a depth chart, but I can't zoom in enough to see how deep it is. Let me keep looking a little bit, but I just want everybody to understand that a 2 mile wide strait for ships to be able to make it through can be shut down almost instantaneously.
Yeah, and you guys should listen to Jake on this. I mean, Jake literally was from the Navy. He was on these ships.
And I was in the Persian Gulf. I was right there.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna, honestly, with the chat here, we're gonna refer to Jake's actual expert opinion because he's literally been on these ships. He's been through these straits. He knows what it looks like.
And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing they can do that a lot of people don't want to listen to. It's only 21 miles wide. Okay. Every missile system in the world, every artillery round that they have, those 21 miles.
You don't even need missiles for that.
It's only 10 miles to the middle of the strait for the shipping lanes. So, like, I want you guys to think about this. Like, they literally could pull up with a 105 howitzer or a 155 howitzer and just start sinking ships.
Yep.
You know, like, these commercial tankers are not built to withstand impact rounds. They're not. And even if we park 3 or 4 DDGs out there, and like, you guys got to understand, man, there's a reason they're called the straits. There's a reason that straits are choke points. There's a reason, you know, like, I'm telling you right now, they dropped 15 mines and the straits are closed down for a month.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was trying to make. Is everybody thinks that Iran needs this giant naval blockade to take on U.S. aircraft carriers, and in that area you're talking about, that's not true at all. They don't need a single ship to shut that thing down. Look how much, Jake. Look how much hell the Houthis were causing through the other strait, and we're talking about a group that's sending rockets off of like 2x4s and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're causing massive problems.
Yeah.
So but I want to talk about. Go ahead. But then after that, Jake, I want to talk about will Iran actually do it? I think that's the discussion. Could they do it? Of course they could fucking do it. Will they do it? Woo.
So I just had a conversation with a guy that I respect immensely, who was let's just say an intelligence guy. Okay. And I said that Iran, in my opinion, has been somewhat weak in posture because last time they retaliated, they told us when and where they were going to do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're in a full-fledged shootout with Israel. I don't know. Like everybody knows what happens. Like, so we're talking about the man packs that came in, and supposedly, you know, there's 10 to 12 of them in the United States right now. And he said, man, what happens if they shoot down a plane? You know what happens if they shoot down a plane in America? They shot down 4 planes, 9/11, and all hell broke loose for 20 years. So I just, if they came over here like this one suicide bomber and Hamas, right? Like one suicide bomber and Iran says, we sent that suicide bomber to America. Man, let me tell you something, man. One thing we like to do in America is fuck people up, man. And if you give us a reason, everybody's going to be like, you know what? I know we lost 13 people in a suicide bombing in the front of a hotel, but you know what? This is America. Let's go shit stomp them motherfuckers. So
yeah, you're not wrong. And here's the thing. I've been obviously adamantly against this, mainly because, not because I give a shit about, like, if we want to get rid of Iran's nuclear capabilities, cool, but mainly because I just see the writing on the wall of regime change, protracted war. That's what I don't want to see, and that's what I'm mostly worried about. And again, me and Jake talked about this on the live last night from Trump's response. Trump's response was not, we took out the nuclear facilities, we're done. It was, hey, Iran, if you want to fuck around and find out, go ahead and try it because we're ready to keep bombing you. So to me, that's the scary thing. And I think, God, are they willing to do it? I mean, never all logic says no, they would never do it, because again, we'll play a clip here from Marco Rubio literally addressing this. So for people who are saying you're fear mongering, no, the Secretary of State literally came out this morning and addressed exactly this. So we're going to watch that of him saying that it would be Iran's self-deletion, right? If they decided to do this, we will glass parking lot the entire country, and we will probably get support from the entire Arab world, because you can imagine the Persian Gulf, UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Like, you think about all these countries are shipping their oil out of that strait. Man, if you want everyone to turn on you, fuck. Throw it out there. All right, yeah. Let's take a look at what Rubio had to say here.
I mean, man. All right, him.
U.S. bombing of 3 nuclear sites in Iran yesterday. Trump administration officials are breathing a sigh of relief that the highly classified bombing mission appears to have gone off without a hitch. But there is also concern now about what happens next when it comes to Iran. Operation Midnight Hammer involved top secret planning and a head fake, as 2 strike forces of B-2 bombers departed the U.S., flying in opposite directions late Friday night. On Saturday, defense officials confirmed to CBS News that there were, in fact, B-2s headed to Guam, flying west from their home in Missouri. But those were decoys. A separate fleet of B-2s departed from that same location, heading east to the targets in Iran. Pentagon officials say the mission was an overwhelming success, but also concede it is too early to assess if Iran still has nuclear capability. 14 30,000-pound massive ordnance penetrator weapons, or MOPs, dropped on an underground
14. Oh my God.
And a key uranium enrichment site in Natanz. Additional American Tomahawk struck a 3rd site at Isfahan.
I think Tehran is certainly calculating the reality that planes flew from the middle of America and Missouri overnight, completely undetected, over 3 of their most highly sensitive sites, and we were able to destroy nuclear capabilities. We believe that'll have a clear psychological impact on how they view the future.
At the White House late last night, President Trump issued his own stern warning to Iran.
There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
And those words, go after other targets, have led to confusion and some concern about what is next for the U.S. role in this very volatile crisis. Secretary of State and acting White House National Security Advisor Marco Rubio now joins us. Mr. Secretary, I know it has been an intense few hours, but so far it does not appear that Iran has yet retaliated against the United States. What intelligence do you have at this point about their capabilities to respond, the intent of their proxies? Is there any kind of command and control structure left to activate them?
Yeah, well, we'll see what Iran decides to do. I think they should choose the route of peace. We've done everything. We have bent over backwards, okay, to create a deal with these people. Steve Witkoff has traveled the world extensively, met with them. Well, not even met with them, met through the Omanis with them and discussed back and forth. We even put an offer to them that they wanted elements of it in writing, and we offered it to them. Very generous offer, by the way. We've done it, and we're prepared right now. If they call right now and say, we want to meet, let's talk about this, we're prepared to do that. The president's made that clear from the very beginning. His preference is to deal with this issue diplomatically. But he also told them we had 60 days to make progress or something else was going to happen. And I think they thought they were dealing with a different kind of leader, like the kinds of leaders they've been playing games with for the last 30 or 40 years. And they found out that's not the case. So this mission was a very precise mission. It had 3 objectives, 3 nuclear sites. It was not an attack on Iran. It was not an attack on the Iranian people. This wasn't a regime change move. This was designed to degrade and or destroy 3 nuclear sites related to their nuclear weaponization ambitions. And that was delivered on yesterday. What happens next will now depend on what Iran chooses to do next. If they choose the path of diplomacy, we're ready. We can do a deal that's good for them, the Iranian people, and good for the world. Yeah. If they choose another route, then there'll be consequences for that.
Let me follow up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked in the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they need
key
to build a
point in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessments. You know
No,
that.
it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
the political
No,
decision
it's
had
spicy.
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
And the people who
Oh my
say that,
God.
it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons, because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but
so
that's
they
a
can one day
question.
put a
That's a
warhead on
question.
it.
That's a question of intent. And you know, in the intelligence assessment, that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold
How do you
state
know
and
what the
use this
intelligence
leverage.
assessment says?
I'm
This is
talking
getting
about the
spicy.
public
Intelligence assessment
March
says.
assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from March.
Hey, let me stop it right there. Let me tell y'all something. If I was in the position of Marco Rubio and this reporter spoke to me that way, I would get her fired the next day. I would get her fired. Like, if you're going to come on here and roast me, I'm going to roast you by costing you your job. What's your thoughts on that, Nate?
I mean, he brings up a really good point. As critical as I've been about all this shit, when he says, why do you need a facility 500 feet under the ground to develop like nuclear energy? That's you kind of get me on my back foot where I'm like, fuck, that's kind of a good point. Why the fuck does Iran have this shit 500 feet underground, hidden away from everybody? It looks highly suspicious. But yeah, I mean, like this is their job, man. And again, I said this before, I'm anti this because I don't want to see another protracted war. Again, we talked about this last night, just had another one of my teammates self-delete himself. Like, that's what I want to avoid for the future generations more than anything. If there is intelligence that no shit, like they actually were, I mean, we've heard for the last 30 years, they're 2 weeks away. Maybe they actually were this time. I don't know, guys. But like having a reporter speak to you this way when you're Secretary of State. Nah, dude. Like, I'm not putting up with that bullshit either, Jake. Whether like my personal opinions about what's going on with this or not, like you're not going to talk to me that way.
No.
Before we can continue that and we get into Rubio talking about the Strait of Hormuz here, let me hit the super chats. M. Corbin, $2. What about Millennium Challenge War Game? I don't know what you mean, Corbin. Sorry, brother. Coop wins. Maybe Jake does. Coop wins $2. Can't they make a flail ship like the flail tank? I don't know. That would be a question for Jake. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of minesweepers over there because they've been dropping mines off randomly every now and then. The problem is, think about dealing with a 4,000 or a 5,000 pound dumb mine. And I got a couple EOT techs that have been over there, and they're like, yeah, you're underwater, you're in scuba gear, and you're trying to de-arm a mine. So you think about how safely we're going to go about doing that. Yeah.
Guys, and, and Jake knows as a SEAL, anything underwater EOD, that sounds like you want to put like the two most dangerous things in the world together synonymously. Typically it's underwater welder. If you guys didn't know, that's the most dangerous job in America. Now you add in underwater EOD tech that's trying to disarm mines. No thanks. I'll pass on that job.
I'll
not
pass
for me
on that one.
All right, $5 from Paul Harbus. Not a doubt in my mind, China moves on Taiwan if America puts boots in the ground, facilitate the inevitable regime change. We're going to talk about that one in the back half of the episode. Foxglow, $10. I was partly raised by Persian step-grandfather who is a great man, and he knows many people in Iran. Iran's population is actually majority Christian and against the regime. Yeah, I mean, they are majority Persian. I don't know the religious breakdown, but I do know that
Christian.
I do know that I do know that in Iran, I talked about this before, that the majority of the people are Persian, living under sort of Now, again, the Ayatollah isn't technically he's Persian. Actually, he's Turkic. He's not Arabic, but it's sort of an Arabic style regime, right, that controls the Persian people. So I do think that there is potential. Man, fuck. You know, it's one of those things of like, I've said this, Jake, and I don't know if you agree with this. I've said this from the very beginning. If we could go back 20 years, we overthrew 6 regimes we shouldn't have instead of the one we probably should have, which was Iran. It's like we did it. It's like we did it back fucking asswards. You know what I mean? It was like if we would have just made Iran the focus out the gate, but we couldn't because of 9/11 and Osama bin Laden and Iraq and the WMDs and all this shit, right? Spiraled out of control. But to me, that kind of does seem like the one place we should have done it. But now, after trying it 6 times and failing, it just feels like it doesn't make sense.
I agree with you. Like I'm gonna say this again. I feel like I got to run for president. Okay, and my whole listen, Nate. This is my my whole like tagline is gonna be "Stop the bullshit." Like, I'm gonna run on that platform. Stop the bullshit. Right? Like, can we just worry about America? Can we build good roads? Can we get our schools back to the top in the world? Can we do the stuff that helps America? Because right now we're so disenchanted and involved in so much other stuff. And listen, if they want to talk about the oil and oil resources, open up our reserves. We got more oil reserves than pretty much anybody in the world. Okay.
Great
you really
point.
want to get me on a rampage? How about we just release free energy? Okay.
That's so true.
And then the next thing I'm gonna say is I'm fucking starting a campaign, Israel to Texas. Okay. Like we're gonna give Texas, we're gonna cut out part of Texas down there by South Padre Island, and we're gonna make it New Israel. And we're gonna find some archaeologically
the new Holy Land,
archaeologically evidence that Jesus is buried there, and we're gonna move the Israelites over here and fucking make Texas the new fucking Israel. Like, let's do it. Let's, because I know this. Till one of these sides wins, this ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Well, isn't that in Revelations, right? Until there is peace in the Middle East, Jesus can't return. So
yes, sir.
And as we can see now, it ain't coming to peace ever while they're still there, right? All right. Hey, speaking of Jake running for president, guys, I'm gonna put, if you're following my channel, I'm gonna put Jake's YouTube channel. I know I just saw somebody said, "Who is this man? I need to follow him." This is Jake Swag, my buddy, Navy SEAL. We do the show every week. I'm gonna put this up again into the pinned comment, Jake's YouTube channel. Guys, we got Jake almost, I don't know, 600, 700, 800 subscribers. He is teetering on the point of 100K, that YouTube plaque. Get over there, subscribe to Jake's channel. Let's get him all the way. He's right there. All right. Appreciate y'all. Now let's Jake, you want to play the rest of that so we can see whatever Marco Rubio says about this self deletion of Iran if they decide to shut the Strait down?
Oh man. Okay, I got it. Wait a minute. Share screen.
And again, we are dinosaurs here. We have no backside help, just me and Jake. And I'm gonna refill the drink while you play that. I'm listening.
Accurate representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60% if you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon? Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored. That's all we need to see.
Right. Well,
especially in the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things around there. The source of all
and no one's disputing that. I'm not doing that here. And they were censured at the IAEA for that enrichment and for violating their non-proliferation agreements. I was simply asking if we had intelligence that there was in order to weaponize, because you said weaponization ambitions.
Well, we have intelligence that they have everything they need to build a nuclear weapon, and that's more than enough.
Okay. I want to ask you on the policy front. There are personnel throughout the Middle East from the United States, in Bahrain, in Kuwait, in other bases. If those countries are attacked by Iran because of their association with the United States, will the United States defend them?
Ooh.
Well, that's exactly why they're there. That's a great point, actually. Do you know why we have bases in Bahrain and Qatar and UAE and all these places? All those bases are there because those countries are afraid that Iran will attack them. If Iran was not a threat to the region, if the Iranian regime, because I'm talking about the Iranian people, the regime was not a threat to the region, we wouldn't have to have any of these bases. Those bases are there because
I don't know about that.
That the Iranian Shia clerics that run that country will attack their country.
Will the United States defend them if they are?
They've got a very difficult history. Well, that's why we're there. That's why we're there.
So
but
yes, we will defend
is
them.
what they're threatening to
Jake,
do. So we'll
Jake, you want to pause that?
We'll defend our people.
Pause
well,
that
they'll
and
attack
talk
our
about
bases.
that.
And those.
Okay, so Jake, what's your again? I haven't seen this yet, right? Jake, what's your feelings on what Marco just said? That the we have like 100 bases in the Middle East, by the way, guys.
We have a ton.
What's your feelings on the reason why we have all of these bases in the UAE and Qatar and in Iraq, Syria, everywhere you look is because it's to defend against Iran. That's interesting. That's not my take. Let me get your take first. Is that why we have all these bases in these Arab countries? Is to protect against Iran?
It'd be interesting to see what our base count looked like before 9/11. But I want everybody to understand it's hard for guys to go snatch guys if they're not within an hour range of them. Thus the reason to have more bases in the area. But if I had to put my money on things, it's all oil related. We got massively destabilized when Iraq, ran into Kuwait and destabilized the region, and we don't want that to happen again. So,
hey, Jake, pull us off the share screen because we'll probably talk about this one for a second.
Sorry, brother.
No, you're good. Yeah, again, guys, because my computer fucking for whatever reason I can't do this. We're Jimmy Riggin. We're Jimmy Riggin this shit as we go.
Jimmy Rig.
Here's the thing. What are those bases amazing for? Those bases are amazing for, I don't know, like when we were at war in Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't know how many times I went through Qatar myself, but that was how that's a stopping point for us to facilitate our military into all of these other Middle Eastern areas and the conflicts, right? You need to get into Iraq, you need to get into Afghanistan, potentially you need to get into Iran. All of these Air Force bases are amazing for facilitating that throughout the region. So, is there maybe some, again, think about the last 20 years, right? When we were at war in the Middle East with Iraq and Afghanistan, were we concerned about Iran at that time? No, that's when we built all these bases, right? So I appreciate Rubio, kind of trying to say these are in American interest, which I do think they are. One of the biggest mistakes I think we made, Jake, was giving up Bagram Air Force Base and Kandahar Air Force Base. I think that was a huge fucking mistake strategically for the United States. So I don't have any problem with our bases there. I think that's just a little disingenuous to say we have all these bases there to counter Iran. Like that's kind of really, is that really what's going on?
Yeah, all we're doing, he's just trying to make sure that we keep the focus on Iran. He doesn't want to break anything out, It's just
which he's supposed to do, right? He's supposed to do that as Secretary of State. We're looking at war with a specific country, right? You need to get support like drummed up for this. I get it. I'm not criticizing it, but I'm just saying understand what's happening.
Yeah, Rams and Roses makes a very valid point. We have United States aircraft carriers, DDGs, all sorts of ships in the Persian Gulf. We have to keep them stocked with missiles and ammunition. And to do that, we have to have a base close enough that we can restock those ships. So he basically is saying, like, look, man, all that naval projection comes at a cost of, they got to have gas. Like an aircraft carrier has to take on fuel. It's almost like every 2 weeks for the air wing, right? If they're flying heavy, every 2 weeks, they got to take on gas. The DDGs are taking on gas every week, right? You know, and that's not shooting missiles every day. Every day, I mean, they only got, I think it's 72 or 128 cells. They can shoot 128 missiles in like 2 days. So,
yeah. All right, real quick, let's hit some super chats before we follow up on that. Joe Saunders, what's up, brother? Always appreciate you being here. I don't mind hard questioning reporters. To the Rubios, fight and make your case. This is still America, right? Yeah, I mean, I think this is a situation where like hard questions need to be asked, but you need to do it in a respectful way, which I don't think this reporter was doing. Walter, $5 for your friend. Appreciate, brother. We'll send it that way. M. Corbin, $2. Swag 28, Indiana takes Central Illinois. I don't know what that's about, but maybe Jake's. That's a football thing.
Running for office, like they're just saying, running for office, like absolutely.
Okay. Walter Everson, $5. Don't Israel my Texas. Yeah, I'm moving there.
Hey man, listen. We're not Israel and Texas. We're giving Israel Texas.
What, the whole state?
No, just that little cutout. Like,
okay.
Dude, Israel is 100 miles long by like.
You're right. That would be a tiny spot of Texas, probably.
Yeah, just cut it out. Ain't nobody down there. There's some farmers and stuff like that, but just cut it out. Give it to them. They can rebuild right there. No problem.
There you go. That's the hot take. Jake wants to move Israel to where? East Texas?
No, South Texas, South Padre, North Padre Island, that area. I looked on the map. There isn't a lot of stuff there. It's pretty cool. Climate's kind of the same. You know, like they'll be right at home. Fuck, like 10 years from now, they won't even realize they're not in Israel anymore. They're in fucking.
Oh, then
Israel.
We got Jason Diamond says, Nate, don't forget to put up your protective flag. Yes, you're right.
Oh, man.
Well, actually, I don't even need it because I have Jake here, who's Jewish, right?
That's
so
right.
I actually have I have my Jewish protection with Jake on the channel for these ones. I technically don't even need it.
Let me hit this, Nate, real quick. So someone in the chat said, hey, this is the best podcast because we have a Viking and a Jew. I had to remind them that I'm like 45% Viking myself, and then 25% Jew, and then the rest of it is that dark stuff from Africa. But since I disclaimed that I'm now a white gentrified Viking, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah. Okay, so Jake identifies as a Scandinavian Viking now, a Scandinavian Jew Viking. So that's where we're at here. All right, then I have a $20 donation from Sean Ravig with no comment, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. All right, Jake, you want to throw that back on? See, hopefully, I mean, again, I haven't watched this yet. The entire title was Marco Rubio talks about Strait of Hormuz shutdown. So hopefully we're going to hit him actually talking about that here.
We'll defend our personnel. We're prepared to do that, but we'll do more than just defend. We'll impose costs on Iran if they attack American personnel, whether they do it directly or whether they do it through some of these proxies that they try to hide behind. And that includes the Houthis. Yeah. So another proxy of theirs. So, but let's hope they don't choose that route. Let's all hope that they actually decide, okay, let's go negotiate, because we want a diplomatic and peaceful solution. We have achieved our objectives. We're ready to negotiate this in a peaceful, diplomatic way. We've been prepared to do that for days. They are the ones that played games, as they have done for 40 years, as they have done to multiple presidents. They tried to play games with President Trump, and they see what happens. This is not a game-playing president. When he says he's going to do something, he will do it.
I hear you saying here you want to de-escalate when you are talking about diplomacy. You are looking for Iran to pick up that offer that was put on the table you mentioned by Steve Witkoff. Can you just clarify, does that mean the U.S. would still allow for Iran to have a civilian nuclear program if it does?
Good question.
On its own soil?
But that's never been an issue. There's countries all over the world that have a civil nuclear program. No one here is saying that Iran can't. Sure, that's always been there. Any country in the world has a right to have a civil nuclear program. What they don't have a right to do is to enrich it at 60%, hide it under a mountain, and develop long-range and short-range and mid-range missiles and sponsor terrorist proxies all over the world. They don't have a right to do that. And that's what they've been doing. And no one's dealt with it. And it's continued to linger. And they've played games with multiple presidents and multiple countries around the world, and they've gotten away with it for 40-something years. This is very simple. The president wants to resolve this diplomatically and peacefully. He gave them a chance to do that. They delayed. They had all these kind of delay tactics. They wouldn't even meet with us directly. We had to go through third countries. This is very simple. Let's meet directly. Let's work on agreements that are good for Iran good for the Iranian people in particular, good for the safety and security of the world and the United States. That's always been our preference. That continues to be our preference. But they're the ones that were playing games with us. And these are the consequences. We had to achieve those objectives. We had 3 objectives yesterday: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. We conducted a brilliant military operation under the command of President Trump, and obviously great credit to Secretary Hegseth and General Kurilla and General Kane and all the airmen and the phenomenal people in the U.S. military. No other military in the world could have done this.
No,
We've achieved those objectives. What happens next is up to the regime. Okay, the regime wants. We're ready for peace. They want to do something else. They're incredibly vulnerable. They can't even protect their own airspace.
Well, clearly they could not. But what is the U.S. assessment of how much nuclear material at those sites was moved prior to the attack? There has been talk for days about bombing of Fordow.
Well, look, we don't. No one will know for sure for days, but I doubt they moved it, because you really can't move anything right now, and they can't move anything right now inside of Iran. I mean, the minute a truck starts driving somewhere, the Israelis have seen it and they've targeted it and taken it out. So our assessment is we have to assume that that's a lot of 60% enriched uranium buried deep under the ground there in Esfahan. And that really is the key. What they should do with that is they should bring it out of the ground and turn it over. Multiple countries around the world will take it and downblend it. That's what they should do with that. And what they should do is say, we're not going to have any enrichment capability in our country. Instead, what we're going to have is a civil nuclear program like dozens of
real quick.
the world have, where we build reactors that create electricity and we import enriched material. And we've made very general. I'm not going to get all the details of the offers, but there are other avenues here that would be acceptable to them.
All right, you there, Jake? I got rebooted there.
Hang on, Nate. I got a question for you.
Yeah. There's some things I want to talk about with that too. What he just brought up.
Let me ask you a question, Nate. 60% enriched uranium that has been blown up underground tends to leave what in the surrounding area?
A lot of radiation, Jake. A lot of radiation.
So Marco Rubio made it sound like, oh, just go to the ATM, give us $200 from the ATM, and we'll be good. We'll downblend it. I like how he said it like it's a fucking cocktail. We'll downblend this shit and make it a little bit less weaponizable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, come on, man. What do we like? We just like, if it was there and they didn't move it, like,
So, Jake, here's another one that's interesting. So Marco Rubio says there, any country in the world is allowed to have a civilian nuclear program, right? But what you're not allowed to do is have 60% enriched uranium with a secret nuclear program buried deep underground that nobody's allowed to have access to while you develop multiple ICBM missiles. Who else in the Middle East literally has all of that?
Don't say
a secret nuclear program no one's allowed to inspect, buried deep underground, that no one knows about it while they develop multiple ICBM missile technologies. Who else in the region has that exact thing? Because he says you're not allowed to do it, right, Jake?
I'm not saying that because we'll all get banned.
I'm just saying, Marco Rubio just said you're not allowed to do that. But last I checked, that's exactly what our partner, and again, I got Jake here as protection. That's exactly what our partner is doing.
Them Duke Blue Devils, those Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah, there you go, Duke. That's that. Okay, there's our new code word. That's our new code word for that. Yeah, the Duke Blue Devils. Yeah, I mean, they have the exact same thing. The UN's not allowed to go in. They're not allowed to inspect this. Again, I'm just saying, if we want to talk about hypocrisy of what's going on, I'm not, again, my opinion has always been, I don't want Iran to have the programs, and I don't want Israel to have the programs. I don't want anybody in the Middle East to have the programs. I don't think that's that crazy of a take. Is it?
Nate, I'm telling you right now, my conversation with you yesterday, I went to bed, I had a good night's sleep. I woke up this morning, I did some preparation stuff just to get ready, should the wheels on the bus fall off. I thought about where I could serve in the military, and then I went to church this morning, right? Like, that's an oddity. I went to church, okay? And then now I'm right back to where I was kind of when I first saw this report. Shit is unraveling kind of quickly at this point. And I don't really see a clear path for an easy exit. I don't see no. Dog, we're in Pennsylvania on the fucking turnpike. It's 20 miles before the next exit, and I got my gas light went off, and I'm on fucking E. You know, like
it's Jake to me, because here's the thing. I said this before the United States struck. This is why I said in my videos, I said there's a 100% chance the United States gets involved and hits these nuclear facilities. Why? Israel said they couldn't do it. The United States said we will not allow you to have the nuclear program. So it's got to happen. Okay.
yeah.
But like you said, where's the off-ramp? Because Iran already couldn't come to the negotiating table because you already schwacked all their generals. You already schwacked all their scientists. You already embarrassed them on the world stage. The Ayatollah, who's, again, in a country that 60 to 70% of the people don't want him in power for, he can't project weakness now. He can't come to the table now and go, okay, even though you literally fucked up everything we have, America, now I'm willing to negotiate, because his own people will then see him as weak. So we got this cornered dog that we're not, you know what I mean? We're not letting out of the corner.
Absolutely.
And then the second that they retaliate, we're going to retaliate 10 times harder. So like you said, where's the off ramp? I don't see the off ramp other than regime change, right? And putting in who we want in power. That, to me, that's the off ramp, because where else is it?
All right, Nate, we got to share this. Somebody sent me this just now, and it can't be any more apropos. So this is what we're dealing with right here. Can you see the picture, Nate?
I love this meme. Yeah, I have. Yeah,
like, hey, like that's what we just did, right? We happened to be the black guy, and Iran's over there on the couch, and we shot him, and now, all right, now it's time for peace. I thought that was super apropos in this situation. Like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing?
And again, like, we're doing what we're doing at this point, right? I don't agree with it, but I like what you say there is like, where's the off ramp? Where is it? Because anybody in the chat let us know like where this off ramp is, other than we destroy Iran and overthrow the government. Like, I don't see where you stop and go, okay, well, we're just going to leave the Ayatollah in power, even though they continue to want to enrich uranium, and they're going to keep doing it, right? Just because I saw this, a quote from, I think maybe it was JD Vance, that said, we set the Iranians back in their nuclear ambitions. It's like, oh, we set them back. Okay. So we didn't end them, right? We didn't solve the problem. We just set them back a little bit. So it's like, okay, so we're not done with this at all. But again, dude, I don't know. I wish I had an answer. Like, where's the off ramp?
Nate, I go back to, I'm not convinced we don't have some issues in the United States. I'm not convinced. I mean, think about this, Nate. 10 dudes with guns can start an absolute fucking forest fire that covers half of America.
Yep.
I mean, we've talked. We addressed this maybe 6-7 months ago. You just take the DC sniper system and put that in play, and you can shut a whole city down.
That was two people.
2 people shut down DC for 3 weeks.
Two.
So
yeah. We might want to talk about that too. I know we kind of we barely touched on it yesterday on the insider threat potential, which if
I'm not even saying insider, I'm just saying like they got terrorists over here, right? They've got
that's what I mean, like inside the United States threat of Iranian agents. I think that's, if it's going to happen, it's going to get turned on. Like the switch got flipped. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I'm saying if they do have the ability, like, what are they waiting for? Because we just gutted them.
I'm going to say this, Nate. They're still in power right now.
The regime?
The regime is still in power. And if they come over here and do some dumb shit, they will not be in power.
Okay.
They won't have a chance to be in power, right?
So no, I like your thought process. It's the same as like what I was talking about with shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, where it doesn't really make sense, because just like doing that, you start carrying out domestic terrorist attacks on U.S. soil. And guess what? When we joked about it last night about Marines having boots on the ground. If you want U.S. Marines on the ground faster than anything possible, create another 9/11 situation and then claim it on behalf of the regime.
Oh, just claim it. Just Doc,
or
I'll
just
say
claim
this.
it. Yeah.
I'll say this. One active shooter and claim it. We sent Omar Shabib to New York City and he killed 13 people. And he was an Iranian asset. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah,
You're gonna see all of a sudden.
Right.
You're gonna see. First of all, our phones are gonna blow up, right? I just got
the
recalled.
drums, baby. The war drums.
I just got recalled, and you know, I talked to somebody today that called to ask if their brother was safe on a ship, right?
Ooh.
And I said, yeah, he's relatively safe right up until Russia or China gets into this game. I said, but as long as it's just Iran, like he ain't got nothing to worry about, right? Like, but I'm gonna tell you, mess around and let 13 people in America get killed by some random dude and let Iran claim it. And I guarantee you, I'm not even gonna say the gloves are gonna come off. Like the landing ships are gonna land, the fucking parachutes are gonna drop, and Iran is gonna be like, oh yeah, we fucked up.
Yep.
We fucked up.
No, I agree. All right, let's hit some super chats. And then you brought up a good point. China potentially being involved. That's what we're going to jump into next. We're going to jump into after these super chats, as the world turns, right? And chaos is everywhere. China's making some very suspicious moves in the South China Sea, very, very close to Taiwan, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Let me hit these super chats. Sebastian Gill, $20. Thank you, brother. There's no such thing as allies, only mutual interests. That's an interesting one. This is all possibility to ensure that Israel is the only superpower that has nuclear weapons in the Middle East. It would also ensure that America has a pulse on China's oil. I mean, it's hard to really like disagree necessarily with what you got saying there. I don't know, Jake, if you have any. I mean, like it's kind of seems true, you know.
Yeah.
But all right, Airborne Professor, $5. The N in Navy stands for knowledge. Love you, Jake. Okay. All right.
Thanks for the shout out.
Okay. I just had a bunch of them pop up.
All right, I got one.
Yep, go ahead.
Blah, 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 blah. $10 with 3 carrier groups in Iran. 0 chance there's no Marines on the ground. Anglico, absolutely. Second Force, 5th. AOR, absolutely. Any chance Marshall poaches FIDS, SS FID gig? No, there's no chance, because I don't know if you've worked with a bunch of Marines, but I'm just going to tell you there is a vast difference in a group of Marines and a group of fucking Green Berets. Okay, like vast difference. No.
When you talk about FID, you're not just talking about training a foreign nation's force. You're also talking about like strategic level implications where those Green Berets are dealing with literal generals and things like that on a regular basis as we're training, host nation forces. There's a reason why the SVAB didn't work out and they're disbanding it, because you kind of need like 35-year-old dudes that are super mature to go do stuff like that. So, Code Red, $2 says raises daughter, married an Israeli man. Yeah, we've talked about that quite a bit on the channel. Code Red says if they have a kid, I don't know what that one's coming from. Oh, if the Iranian exiled crown prince and his daughter has a kid with the Israeli businessman. Yeah, I mean, again, it's pretty obvious that's what they want. We're not at that point yet on the regime change. Butter Toast, $20. This is stupid. We should get out of the Middle East completely. The U.S. also has zero moral high ground on global affairs. I'm going to push back on you a little bit on that one here in a second. The CIA has couped a lot of countries and left them worse than before. Yeah, every country. But I'll tell you this. I spent time in the Middle East, in the culture. No, the United States, as it comes from a cultural standpoint, holds the moral high ground over pretty much everybody in the world, whether it be Marxism, whether it be Islam, whether it be anything else. I'm sorry, you can't convince me otherwise. I've lived in the countries. I've worked in the countries. It is what it is, man. I know people don't like to hear that, but I'm not saying the American government holds the high ground, but I can tell you American culture holds the morality high ground over fucking everybody, over Israel, over the Middle East, over Marxism, over socialism. Jake might disagree with me on that, but I'm sorry. We created the most powerful and the most successful country in the world based off of our culture. And I'll say this.
I'll say this, Nate. There is a reason that everybody in the world wants to live in America. One, it's the land of opportunity. Okay. One, it's the land of opportunity. Two, you can go to 7-Eleven at 3 a.m. and get you one of them big ass fucking 52-ounce Slurpees. And pretty much nothing's going to happen till you're going to make it. You can't say that in 90% of the world. Okay.
100%
you can't say
true.
that. So it's safe and you have opportunity in America. All right. Do we have our problems? Absolutely. Do we have a kind of some crazy shit? Is it getting kind of expensive? Yes, yes, and yes. But I know this. You go to Israel. Israel is San Francisco as far as cost of living.
Yeah, or everywhere in Europe, Jake. Go to Norway.
Everywhere in
Good
Europe.
luck.
Wait. a pair of Solomon sneakers in Norway when they lost my bag cost $800. So yes.
There you go. But no, I get it, man. Like the American government and the things we do. Yeah, we it is what it is, man. We make decisions that are vested in American interests that sometimes don't work out the best for the rest of the world. That's true. But as of a culture, where you're going to live, sorry, nothing comes close. All right, Code Red, $2. Iran will one day have an Israel prince. I mean, we'll see, or princess. All right, let's jump into what's going on in the South China Sea with all this crazy stuff. So, Jake, I put in our studio chat a link.
I'm on it.
To this video that just came out, I think yesterday. Because the Taiwan and China, it's always a problem, but there's a lot of escalation going on right now.
All right,
so
hang on, Nate. I messed it up.
No, you're good.
Messed it up. I copied it and then I copied it again when I tried to paste it. So again, you can be a caveman responsible for.
You got two old cavemen trying to run streams with no backside support, guys. All your favorite YouTubers that are doing these streams have actual teams of production. Not me and Jake.
We like the anti-production team.
Yeah, it's just us.
How can we break shit before we get it to work? Oh, the sound went off. Oh,
there we go.
There we go. All right, we're good to go. Did I share it, Nate?
Yep. Just play. Okay. I think we're good.
China is once again flexing its military muscle around Taiwan. Taiwan's defense ministry says it has now detected 74 military aircraft around the main island in the last 30 hours itself. The ministry reported that 50 Chinese military aircraft, along with 6 Chinese naval vessels, were reported on Thursday, and another 24 aircraft, including fighter jets and drones, were detected as well. In response, Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te ordered defense and intelligence units to increase monitoring, warning that China's military pressure has not eased, even amid rising tensions in West Asia. And this latest incursion, it comes after British Royal Navy patrol vessel HMS Spey sailed through the Taiwan Strait on June 18th. The United States and its allies, including the United Kingdom, consider this 180-kilometer wide waterway.
Oh, we're loading.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
To be
give it a second. Here we go.
To all vessels under international law. But China sees this strait as a part of its own territory. It has a long history of reacting strongly to foreign military transits. The last UK Navy transit was in 2021, and at that time as well, China condemned the move and deployed military forces to shadow the vessel. This time was no different. China's foreign ministry condemned Britain, accusing it of using freedom of navigation as a pretext for provocation.
You can pause it there. Good
China's military also issued a statement.
So, obviously, you got it paused.
Good, yeah.
And then just bring us back up. So, with this, Jake, obviously, this isn't new. This whole back and forth, like provocation stuff, is not new. What they didn't say there is that China's also moved 2 of their aircraft carriers sort of suspiciously and dangerously close to the Strait of Taiwan, while they've obviously been doing tons of flyovers with military jets over Taiwan, which they do here and there, but like they've obviously ramped this up super hard since the week that this conflict, the United States and Israel, has been getting involved in Iran. I don't think that's a coincidence that they're starting to posture like more and more and more as the world gets a little bit more chaotic. So I guess the question is, yeah, I'll hit the super chats here in a second. I guess the question is, Jake, the real question is, does China take this as an opportunity to make their play, right? When you're talking about, think about the world, Jake, right now, kind of on fire. You still got Ukraine, Israel. So you're talking about the United States is getting spread thin, right? Supporting Ukraine. You got that conflict, obviously Israel, Iran, the Middle East starting to explode. Seems like there might not be a better time for China, with all eyes on the Middle East and Ukraine, Russia, to make their move. I don't know. What do you think?
I asked you yesterday, like, where's the Pearl Harbor event, right? Like, where's the 9/11 event? Like, it doesn't have to come in America. Like, if China strikes Taiwan, oh
my God.
brother. Like, I'm gonna say this. We have submarines over there, and the Chinese Navy is going to go away in 2 seconds. Now, they're claiming they got hypersonic missiles that will destroy our aircraft carriers in 20 minutes. So it may be a little give and take. But I know this. Our submarine force is far and away the most lethal thing in the world by probably 100.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we just used it on Iran. We literally just tomahawked Iran from our subs.
Yeah,
you can't stop that.
No, I don't know, man. Golly, man. I looked at the doomsday clock, and I'm shocked that it only went from 90 seconds to 89 seconds. I thought it would have dropped all the way down to like 59 seconds at this point, right? Like,
yeah,
but it hasn't. And I'm like, man, as much as I don't want to say this, you know what? I'm 100% wrong. So I feel like this is headed towards war. So I'm going to go in the exact opposite direction and say we're going to be okay. I'm wrong 100% of the time. I'm wrong 100% of the time.
So your prediction is, hey, this is posturing. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, I think because I feel like we're going to war right now. So if I feel like we're going to go to war, I'm just going to go the opposite direction and say no. God, man, it's just, I feel like stuff, instead of getting, instead of being at like year 25 of a mortgage right now, where you got 5 years left, everything's kind of, you're just smooth sailing, life is good, kids are out of high school, in between college and real life, like life is good. Shit, we just had a set of fucking quadruplets. We just bought a house at the top of the market at
8%.
At 8% interest, and I'm fucking working 4 jobs because I fucked up, and like that's how I feel. Like it went from like smooth sailing to fuck, we're in a goddamn hurricane now.
All right, so I'll give my perspective as, again, somebody that was like deeply tied into the potential war with China and Taiwan, right? Before I retired, that's what I spent my last 3 years doing up until 2023. Let me hit the super chats and then I'll give my perspective of what I think is going to happen. Right. Code red, $2 food for thought. Not sure what that means, but appreciate you, brother. Man Cave EDC, $10. Watch iPet Goat 2, released 2012, shows everything, including B2s hitting Iran, Strait of Hormuz getting shut down. The next FF Izzy by NYC. Pet Goat 2, huh? Okay, maybe we'll take that up. Vets Talking, $10. What's up, guys? Love that you got 173,000 subs. Stay right there for the 173rd Sky Airborne Soldiers. Appreciate it, bro. I don't know. Did we hit 173? We might be there. Keith M, $5. Wonder if North Korea is looking at South Korea, like how a cheetah looks at an antelope right now. Nah, I don't think so, man. That's going to pop off one day. The war never ended. I don't think so with North Korea. I think it's going to de-escalate to the point there may be reunification in the next 10 years. I know that's a hot take, but I think Kim Jong-un has kind of postured himself after all the crazy shit with the pre-Trump era and sort of showing himself as like, hey, look, I know shit was crazy and we had all these nukes, but we're cool, man. Like, as the world burns down, North Korea is the one nation that's not causing any problems. And there's a lot of talk about reunification potentially, where if you just say, hey, the West says, look, Kim Jong-un, your father, everybody, we're just going to forgive all the fucking humanitarian issues, all that shit, if you come to the table. And I think there's some possibility in that eventually. We'll have to see, right? I know that's a long shot, but let me give my take here on the Taiwan-China conflict. So let me see how to do this without giving up classified information that I was privy to. So estimates, and this isn't by me, this was posted in the media years ago. Estimates about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and this is by Special Operations Command, not by me, China would make the play to invade Taiwan in 2027. That's like, we know shit, thought for sure, based off of all intelligence, that would be the move. Okay, we are in what, late 2025, mid 2025, mid 2025. We're about a year and a half early to that. However, when you look at the grand scheme of all the chaos and everything happening, that's not that far away. A year and a half is not very far away based off of estimates of when this would happen. If you are China and you were looking at the world going, what is the best time for us to make a play on this? Is it right now? Probably. However, there are so many complications, as me and Jake talked about, with the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East and all of that being cut off, that if they try to make the play now, like let's say right now they go to invade America, that's already fucking pissed off and heightened and already ready to bomb the shit out of Iran and the Hormuz Strait and all that, and just shut down that for China, we could very easily shut down the Strait of Hormuz, shut down the Strait of Malacca, and pretty much cut off 80% of China's food and oil immediately when that conflict hits off. And I can tell you, if you start starving 1 billion people in China, that mandate of heaven culturally will come up real fast. And everybody thinks the Chinese people are docile. They are, up until the point where they want to overthrow the government, which they have done a lot of times in their own country. Okay. So I think because of that region in the Middle East and so much of China's well-being and economics depending on that area that the United States is heavily involved in, shit, we got B-2 bombers flying right over the top of that motherfucker right now. If they decide to do that right now, I think China guts itself. I mean, we could just immediately shut down everything and they're fucked, right? And who's going to come to their aid, right? Russia, preoccupied with Ukraine. Iran, barely managing to survive, right? So who helps China? I don't think right now is the play. I know it seems kind of like counterintuitive because everything's so chaos, but I just think like you have 2 U.S. aircraft carriers sitting right there, like outside the Persian Gulf, ready to just fuck that up for China if they decide to do that. So
Nate, let's think about the last time, World War II, they just decided Japan decided to invade China, right? Now I know that's Japan, but I feel like when the world gets in chaos, everybody feels like they have the advantage. Oh, they're dealing with
they're emboldened
right now. Yeah, we have the advantage. I don't know, man. I'm not no geopolitical dude. I'm just a dude from Silicon, Washington, man. Like to wrestle, raising 3 kids, gonna try to keep them as safe as I can. It's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy.
So yeah, that's my take. And I've said this a lot of times. Here is my prediction. I know I've been supposed to like make a video on this forever of how I think China really will take Taiwan. I think they will eventually, but China plays the long game. Jake, you know that. They're not in any rush. China's not in any rush to get this done. They don't need to get this done in the next 6 months, the next year. They could wait 10, 20, 30 years if they need to. What I think they're going to do, and we've talked about this, I think, Jake, before, sort of the politics of Taiwan, right? Or any country. When you have, if you actually break down Taiwan into the actual people there, what do they support? Well, you have about, and again, these numbers are sort of wish-wash hypothetical, about 25% of the population that's like hardcore, adamant, traditionalist, anti-CCP. They'll fight to the death. Then you have about 25% of the population, if you think about kind of the Democrat-Republican divide, right? 25% of the population that's pretty pro-CCP. Why? Taiwan and China do a ton of business together, right? Like, this isn't like they hate each other, North Korea, South Korea type thing. That's not it at all. And then you have about 50% of the population, much like America, that couldn't give a fuck less about politics. They don't care about the CCP or who's in charge. They're just going about their daily lives, trying to, you know, have a good life, raise their kids, much like politics works in almost every nation. So if you're China, what do you really need to do to take control? Well, you really just need to get enough of that 50% that doesn't give a shit to get on board with you and take that country democratically through the voting system, much like they did with Hong Kong, right? So that's kind of what I see for the long game plan, is they just kind of whittle things down through propaganda and stuff like that in Taiwan over the years, and then eventually sort of just take it via dipso facto, the democratic process that puts the CCP in charge. You don't have to, because Jake, one of the biggest problems is when you're talking about invading Taiwan, okay, if you're going to invade Taiwan, how do you do it? Well, you got to kill a couple million people to do it. You can't just roll your boats up to Taiwan shores and expect that you're going to be fine.
Taiwan doesn't really have any self-defense though. Like, we're its self-defense basically. Like,
well, my point is, though, the Taiwan Strait, you got to get there. And with the backing of America, you got to get those ships across. You got to invade eventually. If you're really going to invade, right, you're going to cause a million casualties on both sides. And even the mainland China, ethnically, right, and culturally, they don't want to see millions of Taiwanese get killed because they're trying to reunify. They're all one people, right? So they don't want, because a lot of these families, guys, they're connected. You've got families in mainland China that are also connected through Taiwan.
Yep.
They don't want to see millions and millions and millions of ethnically Chinese die. That's not a winning strategy either. So I know I'm ranting a little bit here on this, but that's what I'm just saying, where I don't think, even if this is the right time to invade, I don't see China trying to take it by force. Not right now. It doesn't make sense to me.
And let's not forget that Taiwan used to be China. Just let's not forget.
That's my point. It's all Chinese people, right? And not that long ago. I mean, what was that? The 50s, right? I mean,
let's not forget Britain colonized that part of the world and took a lot of shit for itself. Okay, so like, I don't know, man. It goes back to like, can I just get a good flyover here at 1604 and 281? Can they get all the flyovers put in, right? Like, we spent $11 trillion. We could have rebuilt our infrastructure, could have rebuilt our education system. We could have made college free for every American. We could have did a bunch of good stuff to make America fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And we're dropping fucking, what are they, $4 million a piece, these fucking bombs? Like $20 million a piece for these bombs.
Each one.
We just dropped $100 million, man. Like, that's fucking scholarships for 2,000 people, man. Like, what are we
in one attack?
Yeah, what are we doing? I understand. I'm just kind of fed up with this shit, man. Like I said, I'm gonna run on the fucking thing. Stop the bullshit, man. Straight up. That's gonna be stop the bullshit. I'm running for president. Stop the bullshit. Let's make fucking America fucking kick ass fucking all around again, man.
All right, couple super chats real quick. Kim Jong-un in the chat says three gorgeous damn go bye-bye. So apparently Kim Jong-un is monitoring the situation. We also have a comment that says a church was attacked in Michigan an hour ago. That's interesting.
Hang on now. Hang on. We talked about it. Let's
Michigan
pull it up.
as well.
Now, let me say this, though. Is it a church or is it a mosque? Okay.
Well, I mean, Michigan is one of those places that there's a lot of that.
No, there's a ton, man. Oh, yeah. A gunman opened fire during service at suburban Detroit church on Sunday, wounding at least one person before a security guard killed him. Fucking good guys with guns, motherfuckers. He only got one person and he got snuffed out. That's how. Listen, man, you don't want a Second Amendment. Hang on, let's pull this up. Hang on. I'm sorry, I forgot I was on live. Let's share.
No,
bad boy.
You're good.
We got it right here. This is what I'm talking about. We don't want to give no fake news. This ain't the fake news channel. Okay.
Here we go.
Make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. All right. So boom. Suspect killed by security guard at a church shooting. All right. Let's see what we got here. Looks like they a tree fell around. I don't know. Gunman opened fire during service in Detroit service. Yeah. Okay. Cross Point Community Church in Wayne. Yeah, that's just a regular old church. It wasn't a mosque. I thought it might be the other way. We'll have to wait. We need some more details.
This is something that does happen fairly frequently. Churches are targeted a lot. Here's what I'll say. I don't understand why churches in conservative areas are targeted, because I mean, I train some of the guys I train, the civilians that come out are part of the church security teams for their churches, man. Gotcha. I'm telling you guys, if any of you out there who are psychotic and want to end your own life and want to go on a spree, don't go to a conservative church, because there's a fucking 100 people there that are packing, and you are going to get put down immediately. Like, every one of these stories where these guys get put down is because they decided to go to a conservative church and play games, right?
Yep.
So
yep.
That ain't the place to do it, guys.
And, you know, I was in Texas the first time when that guy went down South Texas and killed all them people. Yep. And I have a good buddy that's very religious, and he happens to be a Navy SEAL. And I called him and said, hey, what's your contingency? He said, oh, man, we got 4 dudes at every door with AR-15s, and we have 2 sniper positions behind the pew facing the crowd. He said they may actually get the gun out, but he said I'll put money that no one gets a shot off in the church.
Yeah, that ain't
solid.
That is, guys, that is not the place. I mean, if you're an Iranian, you know, IRGC backed domestic, you know, T-word, and you decide you want to target somewhere, good luck, man. Head to a conservative church and give it your best shot, because it ain't gonna go real well for you. All right, real quick, super chats. I know I may have missed a few of them, guys. My chat got reset on me. If I did, please put it in the chat. Jasmine, if you see anybody that says, hey, you didn't get my comment, let's try to get it up. Billy Resler, $20. China would likely wait until America is in deep with Iran. America's not going to be in deep with Iran, other than if we no shit put boots on the ground. Iran can't do anything to the United States as it is. That's kind of why I've been critical of the whole thing, is like, Iran is not a threat to the United States. They can't reach us. They can't do anything to us. But if we do go that deep, then maybe. Diversion, brother against brother traps of attrition are the most effective path to victory. I mean, it's really, really hard to invade a country. I'll tell you that. We've learned that the hard way as Americans, for sure. Also, I mean, how was America founded? A foreign nation trying to invade us, and unconventional warfare is really hard to beat, much like we saw in Vietnam, much like we saw in Afghanistan, much like we've seen in Iraq. It's really, really hard to control a country that you don't actually live in, right? So that's really the real way. Mike Matrix, $5. Do you think U.S. bombs the computer chip fabs in China if Taiwan invades? Yes, that's part of the strategic plan. We will absolutely destroy every super semiconductor chip factory that there is the second that China basically makes that play. That's already in the plans strategically. There's no, that's not a classified thing. We've made that very, very clear to the world. That is also why we're trying to diversify with new plants in Arizona. And we're also just made that deal with Qatar and Saudi Arabia to potentially start producing super chips in the Middle East as well, so that we can diversify. If that really does happen, the entire world doesn't fall apart strategically, because those super chips, you know where those are used, Jake? What are the super chips used in?
And everything that goes boom. Everything.
And everything that goes boom, guys. Boom. Yeah. All the high-tech weaponry, that's what it's mainly used in. So, no, we are not going to allow China to have that, because they can't produce their own. For those of you who didn't know, China doesn't produce any of their own super chips. They actually buy those from Taiwan as well. So, Zuby, $5 after watching last night's worst play out. Do you think it's fair for kids to say they wouldn't go to war if drafted? I'll tell you this, man. Here's the deal. You got a decision to make. If the draft kicks off, I don't think it is in any realistic timeline. If it does kick off, you have a decision to make. You can serve your nation and be drafted, or you can go to prison. Your choice. That's it. You think I see this all the time. I'll defect to Canada in 2025. You don't think we can find your ass? We will, and we'll make it. And we did this in Vietnam. The people that tried to defect, we made a serious example out of about 3,000 of them right up front. And so everybody else went, no, never mind. I don't want to go to prison for 20 years. So if you decide you want to go to prison for 20 years or as long as the conflict lasts, which is probably 20 years because that's how the United States rolls, instead of serving for 1-2 years, that's your choice, man. It's a dark thing to say, but
and I tell everybody, if you don't want to go serve on the front lines, just go join the Navy, join the Air Force.
Perfect.
Right, there you go. Away, right? Go join the Coast Guard. Okay. If you don't want to be a fucking grunt, then get off your ass and go do something else. But I don't think.
Great point.
I mean, I will say this: if it gets to the point where we have a draft, we're gonna be fighting for fucking America. Much like World War II, we're gonna be fighting for fucking America. If you don't want to be speaking fucking Chinese in a couple years, then everybody's gonna understand like shit, Jake, right? Like,
and Jake, people think I see this all the time because I did a couple draft videos lately. Go, the United States will never enact the draft. Jake, do you know how many times we've actually enacted the draft in recent history?
Don't know.
I do. It's a fucking lot. World War I.
Didn't we start calling people like in the middle of 2004?
Yeah. I'm gonna lay it all out for everybody who thinks America would never set up a draft. Okay, check this out. World War I, there was a draft. World War II, there was a draft. Korea, there was a draft. Vietnam, there was a draft. In 2004, like Jake just mentioned, we were about to enact the draft. And let's see, was it 2003 and a half, 2004? It was going to be an election year. We were that close to enacting the draft, and George Bush didn't do it because he knew he would throw the election, so he enacted stop loss instead, okay? So almost every conflict the United States has ever been in, we've enacted the draft. So those of you who think it could never happen, history tells you it fucking always happens. Always. The only reason it didn't happen in the global war on terror, one, was because patriotism was so goddamn high after 9/11 that we didn't really need it because enough people like me and Jake and everybody wanted to sign up and go. But even that, we were that close in 2004 to dropping the draft. Instead, we did stop loss and brought everybody back in. All right. So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you, if real conflict kicks off, you can 1000% expect the draft. Okay. But I don't think we're at that point right now. In the foreign conflict, but let me tell you, every conflict we enact the draft, guys.
Hey, let's go back to we're a Pearl Harbor 9/11 away from the party fucking fully turning on and the speaker going to 100. Like they're gonna turn the volume all the way up. So I got one last super chat, man. Jay Lee 34, appreciate it, brother. Imagine thinking you can tell Lockheed Martin when and where to fire their missiles are going to be fired because you're the president. Well, I'm just going to tell you this. If you're the president of the most powerful nation in the world, you kind of have some rights and responsibilities. And one of those is you get to fucking kill shit if you want to kill it. So that's the facts. Like if you're the president, you know, I have had a number of people that have worked directly for the president and they were like, you have no idea how crazy that job is. And how much responsibility is on his shoulders. And not just daily. My guy said every 10 to 15 minutes, there is a national crisis level event happening in that building. So
yeah, you're not wrong. And you know, one of my close friends I worked with was very, very deep in the White House for a while, and Jake's not wrong. It's always some type of world-ending event that's right around the corner. All right, real quick, I think we're about to wrap this one up. Almost an hour and a half, longer than we usually go, but thank y'all. Vets Talking, what's up, guys? Sent Valhalla 5 VFT gifted memberships. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much. Dieter Niddles Bar, $2. UN Security Council meeting after U.S. strikes. Yeah, I bet they're going to meet and talk about it. The UN ain't going to do shit about it like they never do, but, you know, they might wag their fingers at everybody. I don't know if they will or not. It'll be interesting to see. Coop wins $5. Isn't a draft like communism where the army decides what you're doing? No, you live in the greatest country on earth, and part of the responsibility and of living in the greatest country that's ever existed in human history is that you may have to be drafted. I mean, that's just the way it goes. It's been that way ever since the formation of this country. So again, I'm not saying I want it to happen, but I can tell you if it happens, you're not getting out of it. You're not escaping it. Just it is what it is, guys. The best thing, and I'll tell you this because my dad did it. Jake, my dad did this. When the draft kicked off, you know the decision my dad made? He said, I'm just going to enlist and become a Green Beret instead of being drafted. And that worked out very, very well for him. And that, like Jake said, there is 100+ jobs in the military that are non-combat jobs that if you decide to go that route, you will be safe from the front lines of combat because the majority of draftees probably are going to go to the infantry. So just be aware of that, right? If you want to avoid that. But again, guys, I'm not trying to fearmonger. I don't think we're at that point. I don't think Jake thinks we're anywhere near that point. But you never fucking know. In the state of the world that we're in, who knows, guys?
Hey, I'm telling you, I feel like we're going to war. I got to play my Antichrist card. That means we're not going. So I'm going to go upstairs, make me a fucking slushy, look at the trees
there we go,
I
baby.
cut down in the front yard, put my little 3-man army to work. We got to go paint some walls this afternoon. I'm going to call it a day, bro.
Yeah, guys, again, don't stress out too much of this. This isn't any crazier. I mean, it seems crazy, but it's not any crazier than it's been over the last fucking 200 years in America, right? One last super chat. Fox go $5. What do you think of conscripting women for non-combat jobs? I don't know, man. If you want equality, then I don't see why they wouldn't be.
Hey, Nate, that's your fucking 5 million liberal women. Fuck yeah, draft them all, man. Draft them all. Hey, listen. Hey, go if y'all want to know what the Japanese do, go look up comfort women.
Oh my God.
All right,
we spiraled out of control. We spiraled out of control at the last moment.
Quickly,
that's fine.
Let's end this chat before we get demonetized.
All right, before we do that, guys, pin comment, go subscribe to Jake's YouTube channel. We got almost 2,000 people in the chat right now. If you haven't subscribed, go do it. He's almost at 100K. So that would be fucking awesome for you guys. Thanks to Jake. One last super chat from Coop wins $5. I think you misunderstood. Like when you drafted doesn't mean the Army choose what you're doing. No, when you get drafted, the Army 100% chooses exactly what you're going to do. That's why you want to enlist instead, because then you get to choose. If you get drafted, you do needs of the Army. It's called, boys, needs of the Army. All right. Anything else, Jake, you got for him before we log off?
I'm good, man. Have a great Sunday to everybody, man. Have a great week. Go out there, be positive, man. Affect what you can affect. Let the other shit roll off your back. Be great, man.
One last thing, guys. We don't know what's going on, but I will tell you this. Be smart out there, guys. Avoid massively crowded places for the next couple weeks. Don't put yourself in positions that could potentially get you or your loved ones in any type of danger, all right? We don't know what the hell is going on, but they're trying times, obviously, what's going on in the Middle East, right? So be smart. All right, everybody. Take care. We'll catch y'all next week in the next one. All right, now let's not mess this up here.
Nate, I think I messed it up yesterday. I